Florida, if the riptide, sharks, and hurricanes don't get you, then this guy eventually might. Welcome back to States Against Humanity, our March Madness tournament in June. Because whatever, stop asking questions. Today we continue our tournament looking at the Hellscape Dystopian Division, where number 2 seed Florida? Still confused why y'all did that. Matches up against number 3 seed Utah. So far, in round 1, we've been using this checklist to compare states. Somehow I feel like Utah and Florida may need like an additional playoff checklist. But whatever, we soldier on. Beginning with abortion rights. Whatever's left in Florida. Remember when Roe was overturned, they initially had a 15-week ban, but DeSantis was like, no, we want to fit in with all the other conservative states. Let's opt for that 6-week ban, before anybody knows they're pregnant. But Utah's like, I see your 6-week ban, and I raise you with doctors refusing to work in the state of Utah. Also, Utah was watching what was happening in Idaho, and the Supreme Court just said that Idaho had to provide abortions in emergency situations, and Utah was like, oh man, I wish it went the other way. I think I was grading them in earlier videos. Somebody remind me. But in this case, they're both going to get a check off for having strict abortion bans. Maybe Utah has a slight advantage because they're around or closer to other states where you can access abortion care. Florida's just like tucked away in the deep south. On Monday, volunteer chaplains get to go to public schools. Also, Florida was one of the 13 states with a Republican governor that opted out of summer food program for kids. Kids only have food insecurity during the school year, don't you know? But wait, Utah was one of those states too. But Florida is using PragerU. I don't even know how to describe PragerU. I hate to put PragerU in any conversation we're talking about that involves education because they don't deserve that. Please check out some of my PragerU videos. They're so bad. And while PragerU videos aren't being used in Utah classrooms, their politicians are citing them in climate change discussions. So that's bad. Also, I found several articles talking about how Utah children in certain schools only have 6 to 7 minutes to eat their lunch. Anybody in Utah want to explain this? So while it appears they both have some problematic aspects to their education systems, I think we can give this one to Florida solidly. Up next, LGBTQ discrimination. This should be good. If you want an idea of how bad the political climate is in Florida, I didn't know where to put this slide. Do I put it in education or do I put it in LGBTQ discrimination? You can't even say the word gay in Florida public schools, so I believe that takes this category. Also, we can go ahead and check off the racist part because of the fact that they discriminate against Black and LGBTQ people, to the point where their schools have been removed from LGBTQ college-friendly lists. On the contrary, the Utah House of Representatives just voted down a bill that would ban LGBTQ pride flags and political views from being in classrooms. So congratulations, y'all. We had one shining moment of happiness during this entire video. I went ahead and jumped forward and I checked the box for anti-DEI or being woke because Florida's a racist state. I'll show you why. Once again, Florida's political climate is so terrible that I had to put this in multiple parts of the video because their governor purposefully dismantled a Black congressional district in order to give the Republicans more seats. Then they got sued for it. This happened in the Panhandle, and I believe that it netted the Republicans of 4 extra congressional seats. And initially, a Florida judge declared it unconstitutional because obviously gerrymandering is bad. But then the appeals court was like, no, it's fine. Even though DeSantis's own lawyers said that it definitely discriminated against Black people. The court said, okay, that's fine. This congressional map can stay. And now the Supreme Court is deciding whether or not they're going to challenge it. Maybe. Now, Utah's situation isn't nearly as dire. They got a C- from a watchdog group because a lot of their maps were drawn behind closed doors in secret in a short period of time, which suggests shady behavior. But nothing as overt as this. So Florida, again, takes the gerrymandering category. Oh, I forgot. We have to go talk about child labor. Can't believe it's 2024 and we're talking about child labor. Many states are rolling back child labor laws so that teenagers can go to work for longer periods of time. Is Utah one of those states? No, apparently not, which surprised me. It is the policy of the state of Utah to encourage the growth and development of minors by giving them opportunities to work. At the same time, we need reasonable safeguards for health and safety and education for them. Seems very reasonable. Meanwhile, in Florida, they're going to roll back the child labor laws so that teenagers can work upwards of 30 hours plus a week. They really said, this one's for capitalism. And last but certainly not least in this country are guns. And I was disturbed to find out that Utah governor signed a bill that encourages teachers to carry guns in their classrooms. And I was not at all surprised to see that Florida already did that like 5 years ago. And when the Biden administration issued a warning from their Surgeon General saying that we have reached a place of a public health crisis when it comes to guns in this country, here's a warning, heed our warning. DeSantis was like, no, Florida's not going to do that. We will not comply. We realize that guns are like the #1 cause of school-age children death, but we're not going to do anything to combat that. Actually, we're going to make it harder for you to do that. Thanks. So, because of all that I just mentioned, and the fact that I could dedicate my entire account to the problems in Florida's political system, Florida receives full marks in the fuckery checklist. But unlike the GOP's plan for this country, here we have a democracy. So I'm going to let you all cast your votes. Which is the worst state for our humanity? Is it #2 seed Florida that probably shouldn't even be a #2 seed? Or is it #3 seed Utah? TikTok voters can cast their votes here. You can also vote on a Google form if you click on the link in my bio. Thank you for playing, and may the force be with all of us, because we're not even halfway through this thing. Now, because y'all have the attention span of gnats, this app won't show any of my videos that are above 1 minute. So I'm going to go ahead and put all the information in videos here. So if you want a justification for these scorecards, that's where you're going to find it.